Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining us at our Pluribus Inclusion Insights free webinar series. So let me introduce myself. I'm Isabelle Pujol. I'm the founder and CEO of Pluribus, which is a global D&I consultancy. I think at Pluribus, we strongly believe in a world where everyone belongs and can fully contribute. So that's why for the last 20 years, we partner with global organizations to make inclusion real. So it's through strategy, leadership, honest dialogue. And we had the opportunity to host already 2 successful webinars. The first one was in June 25 with Dr. Rohini Anand. She's the former EVP of D&I of Sodexo, and she's a real pioneer in D&I, and myself, and we addressed the D&I backlash. And then the second one was in November 25th with Wei Kai, CTO at Technip Energies and senior D&I sponsor. And that was facilitated by our colleagues Kingsley Weber, on inclusive leadership, as a catalyst for transformation. So today, I'm not only very excited, but I'm very proud to introduce our 2 speakers, 2 very inspiring women. So we have Yaël Ponçon, who is the HR director at Saint-Gobain Mobility, and Maija Van Langendonck, who is a senior associate at Pluribus. So today, this is our 3rd webinar, and I love the title, the Woman Leadership Program Everyone Wanted, now a blueprint for organizational transformation. And this webinar is very, very special. Why? Because it's not a traditional D&I or woman in leadership webinar. In fact, this is a real case of organizational transformation and about inspiring and empowering women. So the focus will be on decisions, trade-offs, impact, sustainability. And of course, the format will be very informal, as always, very authentic, in a very fireside chat format. And of course, at the end, there will be some Q&As. So you will be able to use the system, the chat for Q&As. And the session is recorded. So I'm very, very happy to hand over to Yaël and Maija. And now the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you, Isabelle.
Yeah. Thank you, Isa. Okay, so it's interesting because normally we get visibility to what's behind the scenes, here not. So Yaël, it's you and I. We'll talk a bit later to the group, but we thought there's been some really interesting questions that have come in and expectations. And the good thing is they seem to be in line with what we've got planned for today. I also know we were laughing that I was saying, oh my God, we could spend a few webinars talking about this because the experience has been so rich. But before we go in, it's maybe good to get a sense of what people are thinking. And Larissa, our moderator, prepared a poll for us. So I don't know how many people are attending this live, but for those that are, and just to check your access, we obviously want to be connected with you. So there's 3 questions that you have in the polling. One is just to check in what region you're from. The other thing that Yaël and I were particularly interested in was to get a sense of, as you think about transformation or inclusion programs, what barriers do you encounter or what do you struggle with most? And if it's none of the 5 that we pre-selected for you, we give you an option to put in your own. So we'll wait to see, and maybe Larissa, when you get answers in, you can give us a sign somehow. So we want to do that. What I can maybe talk about while we wait for the polling to come in is to say that we've built up this dialogue around 4 big chapters. And that's also a bit of what we promised as an actual framework. When Yaël and I, you remember, we started the preparation, we discovered that actually in the dialogue, there was the system already. So we're going to look at what was the starting point, and I'll guide you through questions on that, like the link to a true business imperative. We'll talk a bit about what made it unique, right? Because neither you nor I like to go with the vanilla. We like to make it a bit different. So we'll talk about what made it different, both in approach as content, and then we'll talk about backlash, resistance, no resistance, what you did, what we did in order to keep the momentum and the focus on the program, right? That's what we're going to do. Mm-hmm. So Larissa, can I ask you, are there any votes that have come in, comments from the polling?
Yes, we have 33 responses. I will share with you, Maria.
Okay, thank you. It's the voice from the background. Okay, so mostly from Europe. Oh, we got UK as separate. That's interesting. Okay, let's look, and you can see it together with me. Lack of senior sponsorship. So that's one that we know we can zoom in on. Too HR driven, resistance and backlash, no follow-up or measurement. Wow, aren't we lucky that we've got an answer to that one also? And then to the third question, are there any additional barriers? Do you have any input there, Larissa, that you can show us? I'm not hearing anything. Larissa? Okay.
Sorry, checking. We have level of maturity of organization and organizational culture. We have no loss of momentum in our company. We have money, resistance, backlash. That was all.
Okay, good. But so it's nice because it aligns with the things we hope to cover. And if not, as Isa mentioned, you will always have, as a participant, access to the Q&A. So you can put your questions here. And for those that are listening to the recording, I'm sure you'll find a way to connect with us if there's burning questions that you would like us to answer. Okay, so with that, we've set the scene. And before we dive in fully, I want to share something. When preparing with my co-facilitator of this leadership program, Danielle, she reminded me of something. She reminded me of what a friend of mine taught me, who said, the quality of your facilitation is the quality of your presence. Try to think of that, of course, a little bit, but it's more about where are you at and where's your mind at? And Yaël and I and all the leadership women have this practice now to say, okay, we want to invite all of you to be able to capture the quality of the conversation that we're having. So it may seem a little strange. I got permission. I'm going to ask you if you feel comfortable to close your eyes. And Yaël, you maybe do it with me, right?
I would have been surprised if you didn't ask all of us to do it, because all time you, but if it's short, it's okay.
Yeah, it's short. Okay, so close your eyes. For those of you who can, and even if you think your colleagues are watching, who cares? Close your eyes, feet on the ground, and take a deep breath in. And notice how you're sitting on a chair, or maybe on a couch, or maybe standing up. And just see if you can let go and become fully aware of where you are right now. In this space, to have an interesting dialogue around leadership and transformation. And take another deep breath in. And out, and just drop a bit more into presence. And remember, this is a key leadership skill, to be able to be focused where you want to be and need to be. And in doing so, you'll have a lot more opportunity to pull out key learnings from today. So one last time, deep breath in. And then let go. There we are, ready to go. And for those of you listening, you can let go of the screen and approach this more as a podcast. So feel absolutely comfortable in just maybe walking around. And Yaël, let's go on a journey.
Let's go.
Yeah. So one of the first things we talked about is the business context. Where did this start? Where did this originate?
Oh, probably first, I didn't want to work on a specific D&I approach. So seems strange because we will talk about this, but it wasn't the idea. When I started to work on that 4 years ago, we are in a big group. We follow gender diversity figures every month. We talk about this for years, so it's common topic.
Yeah.
So it was like a common topic, but something that, okay, we have to do it, we have to follow. And after a few seconds, is it good? Is it not good? Okay, guys, you have to do something more. It's okay. And next topic. And nevertheless, everywhere, all of our HR works on this topic. So it was a mix of, we ask them finally to do things. We have more women sometimes in our organization, and it is pretty good globally everywhere. And at the same time, we don't spend really time to think about them. So having more, or having women in the organization, this is the first step. But what I wanted to do is to say, okay, what are we doing with that? What does it mean? Do we have the right profile when we are thinking about talent position, management position, operational position? In general, no, or we are always talking about the same name. So one day I took, I would say, the main woman. We have internal classification with the band level for all cadre, and we took all the main women in our organization, 100, just before being at some managerial position, exco position, and I said, do you know all of them? First, we are talking with the exco member. Huh? It wasn't the case. Second point, do you think that some of them are able to take 1 or 2 level in the coming years? Yes or no? In majority, no. At the end, we only identify maybe 10, 15 women able to do this. So I say, my God, we have more women, but we don't have the right one able to take some important position in our organization. So we have really a gap or risk for our business. This is not what we want to do. We don't have a good pipeline. It's like if we are just thinking half part of the population, only men inside our organization and not women. So if we have more, this is for what? So for me, it was really a question of, if we have to do something, not because the group asked for, or is not because regulation asked for, we have to do this, okay, for that, but we have really to make it useful for our organization, for our business. And we have very good profile, I'm sure, inside our organization, but we don't know them. So what I wanted to do is really to put this risk and this topic on the table and to say, are we aligned? Just not to do things because the group asked for that, but really to do things because it's good for us. And because I know that in your team, I'm sure you have good profile to take some important position. It was the simple things at the beginning. So it wasn't only a DNI. At the end, yes, but I was fed up just to put this topic every month without concrete action. And good for everyone and for the business. For me, it was the main approach.
Yeah, so I think, and it's already one key takeaway that you've got there, in the sense of, whatever the issue is, don't frame it for the topic itself, frame it for the impact and the consequence on the business, right? Because I heard you say, it's interesting. I mean, I remember in the days when I was in a D&I lead role, it was like to look at things differently, right? How come that they don't know, that they didn't know the 100 pipeline women, and did they know the 100 pipeline men? Probably yes, but I mean, I don't necessarily want to go back into that polarization, but just bringing the information forward. So what makes it so? Are they really not there? Have we not spent the time? What's the reason why there's no visibility? And so I understand you really approached it as a talent pipeline. So what was the response? No, go on. I see you say no. Yeah.
But finally, when at the beginning, when we just put this topic and by saying we have to do something, they say, yes, okay, continue to speak, and we'll talk about something more important, business, production, and so on. So I say, okay. So we did this people review, finally, about the main woman in our organization. And at the end, they said, okay, maybe you're right. We have to do something different. Say, okay, what is your approach? And I say, I don't want to do something already done, classical, probably because I'm not totally like that. But the most important, I think, I say, okay, for years, we saw HR, a classical HR approach. And it's useful because we also need that. It's not the point. But here, what I wanted to say and what I suggested is to work with only operational women, no HR in the team. So we took 2 women because I have in my scope, it's 5 different businesses. So I took 2 from the 5. They suggest me some name. So a woman who are able really to contribute, to say things that they already identify in each of them something interesting. We put them all together and I say, with 2 words, first, do whatever you want. So think about what could have been useful for you in the past if you had think all that, and what could be useful for you for your future and your evolution inside the organization. I don't want to put an HR. I will be the HR for everyone if it's needed. So it must be something very pragmatic, operational, useful for you. That's it.
Yeah.
Don't,
so maybe
and don't, I would say, and sorry, and don't think about the cost or it's possible or not possible. I don't know what the other will think about that.
Yeah.
You are free. You know, open your mind, put everything on the table, and we'll see what we will do with that.
Yeah. Okay. So I maybe want to go back a step because we know the story, but we've gone quite quickly from you had a problem or an opportunity, and we went towards a solution. What you're talking about is your approach, and I want to come back to that in a minute. What I'd like to understand a bit more, because many organizations might not know, Saint-Gobain is, I think, 190,000 employees. It's been around for 300.
No, Saint-Gobain, it's 172,000 employees in the world.
There you go, right? And some companies are thinking we're a large company with 1,000 employees, right? So 172,000 worldwide, 365 years this in existence, right?
116 the last year.
Yeah.
So it's an old woman, I would say, a French first. No, it's important because be based in French, it's also with some value, some very well, I would say, as all industrial company like that, very top down, very hierarchical, and also a lot of different entities everywhere because this company was a mix of we bought over the years a lot of other companies, and also we created some internal companies. So it's a mix of different kind of things. So
but I don't think any or very few companies can say that they've got a legacy of 365 years.
Not sure. I think we are the only one.
Yeah, I think so too. And to think that within that, you've done something so progressive. So I just wanted to set the scene. Industrial company, French origin, goes back all the way to Louis XIV. There's something magical about that. Yeah. And then you've got all of this and the capacity to reinvent themselves and not being saved from challenges, right? So we'll come back to that later also in the current context. So this is the organization. You talked about advancement. You had a goal of gender representation, right? Like many organizations. And then you pitched it as a business opportunity, right? That's what we say. And then you gained the buy-in and the support. What made it that you gained the buy-in and support to then start? And then we'll go back to how you did it. But how did you gain the support at the beginning to even come up with the idea of leadership?
I gained the support by two ways. The first one, I had a lot of discussion with my CEO, just to make sure that he will be a real support for this project. And for that, I just put on the table, okay, what is important for you in your organization? What do we need to have? Is it first to only continue as it is? Okay, so we have some lack of, I would say, always looking at the lack of good talent or profiling, nevertheless, because it's the case. In some countries, we are still looking for talent pipeline. We are still looking for good succession plan. We are still looking for good profile internally, and we want to retain the people we attracted and we developed. So how can we do that? The second one is, don't you think it's pity when we recruited some interesting profile, we developed them, and around 35, they decide to leave because they don't think they can grow inside the organization. And when we deep dive on this topic, I would say they are mainly women. So it's it's just a PT6. And following this, I say, and because he also has a daughter, so it's very interesting to think that, okay, what do you expect also for your daughter inside the organization, whatever she will work, I would say, whatever the company she will work in the future. And it's interesting just to think that we're in a world half men, half women. Probably it's interesting just to be more open about different profile who can work together. And I always do believe that diversity is having someone different inside the room change our intention, perception, action, behavior. So is it clearly it's good for the business? But a lot of studies show it. So I don't need it, or I didn't need it at the time to really to show that. And when he said, okay, but do something concrete. So, okay.
Yeah. And that's when you,
Yeah, so I needed to also to push this topic by different way. It wasn't only one thing, because one thing doesn't work. Also, we needed to approach this topic by different action.
Okay. So before we go in there,
and because it was him, but I needed also to have some other eye. So I had a lot of discussion with some manager who were clearly open to that, but didn't know how to do that. And they needed some support to do that. So I was a good, I would say, pretext and really to put this topic, coming with ideas, and it was really easy to embark them. And when you have 2, 3, after that, the other will follow. So it was step by step, and I didn't spend too much time at the beginning and focus my time on a few, because always a few more passive, I would say, not necessarily against, but passive. And I said, okay, I will do it with who really want to push this topic, and the other will follow. And it was the case.
Okay, so again, and I'm listening also to summarize. I have the audience in mind there and key learnings. Plus, I find it interesting because what I hear happened was, okay, frame the challenge clearly, right? So first of all, what people don't know is you've established a relationship and a rapport with your CEO that goes back over years, right? Your brand as a professional and as an out-of-the-box thinker is strong. Therefore, there was already a trust. So you go to him and you say, hey, it seems you got a bit of an opportunity here, right? We're not tapping into all our talent. And actually, we're investing to recruit, and they're leaving outside. They're exiting the other door. You can translate that directly into dollar amounts. That always works in a business. But and you made it personal, right? So you framed the problem. You made it personal in the sense there's also a personal motivation from his side. And then I heard you say you got his support and then went to a few people and build a coalition of the willing, right? And with that, okay, so this is how we set it up, which is key already for any change project. And it sounds really easy, but it requires dedication and good relationship skills, I think, and good business acumen. Yeah. So then we go back to what you started talking about. So the first section
and I didn't do that when I just arrived. I did it 9 months, nearly 1 year after, because I needed to be validated inside the exco. And also I did different kind of things. So I have the trust of a lot of, I would say, of my peers, of my CEO. He saw me on other kind of topics, because sometimes when you want to change things more sensitive, and also because I am a woman, so I put this topic as a woman, as an HR, and it's never easy to do that, and it's always on our shoulders. So I needed to have this kind of trust and validation, I would say. It was clearly easier for me to embark the other one.
Build the credibility. And let's be honest, if you're a leader and you've got a challenge and you don't have the answer to it, and somebody shows up who you know is smart and is capable and says, hey, I got a solution to your problem, you'd go like, here you are, right? so then you got the challenge. What did you do with it? You started talking about it. You said you took a different approach, right? And so I want to go back to where you started talking about you invited what we call the governance team, right? So you invited a group of women. So take me through that, or take us through that.
So I didn't choose them. I just suggested to the CEO to give me some names. So it was also interesting because they were involved by, okay, who could be part of this governance group?
Yeah.
If you suggest me a name, means you think that this woman can bring something to your organization. So it was a mix of this. I also choose one of the peers around the table to animate this group with me, at least at the beginning.
Yeah.
Just to embark him in and some of them. And also we had some common discussion or regular discussion with the exco just to give a feedback about how this group works and the first output. But what it was very interesting, they were all operational, different level in the organization. And after a few months, they really, for me, came with, I don't remember, nearly 30 different ideas. So I say, okay, go with it. And we went through it. We create some connection, and step by step we say, okay, now we start to think about few actions. So we will be able step by step to show something to the exco. And I was a link between this group. Sometimes I had also to push this group because you take this topic, you go through it, it takes time, and at some moment I say, okay, but we need also to produce things interesting, and making the link with the exco. So it was a mix of, okay, I let you working as you want. You can do whatever you want, and after that, nevertheless, we'll have also to decide and to go in action. And I always supported this group. I didn't want to be part of all discussion, just with common meeting with them, just to listen, just to support, to help them to go through the right journey sometimes, to facilitate some discussion, and step by step to I would say to define and to design what we wanted to do. And also to create the link with all the exco members, to embark them and to prepare them for the next step. So it was a presentation of the different action. So it was really a mix of giving also to them a clear visibility inside our organization, because they were chosen by the CEO, and they could have this opportunity to be visible by also all the other inside the organization. They also had my full support about this. And what I say to them, say, do whatever you want. It's a test. We'll see what we'll see. So no pressure. And it will be for sure better than it was. So it's okay.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So I'm going click, click, I'm listening and then saying it at the same time. So we had a business opportunity. You framed it as such. You built a coalition of the willing. Step 3 was, I'm not going to do it like everybody else might do it. I've got this idea. I don't want to do it alone. I'm building a governance team. And there's several things there. Again, thinking about people that want to replicate. You invited people from in the business who had a level of seniority, right? So there were some young people in the governance team, I remember, because you wanted cross-generational perspective. They were all women, right, from the different entities within the business for which you are responsible. And they came together, I think, for nearly a year or 9 months, and they met every month. I'm making it very practical if I remember it. So nominated by the manager or ex team member, committed to a year of meeting once a month. And the key questions you talked about earlier was, what would you have wished for yourself if you were to develop some kind of initiative? And what do you think is needed? Right? That's what I remember the structure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And don't be conventional, and be free, and
be wild.
Put everything on the table.
Yeah.
No, what is interesting is we had women coming from the operation, from different, I don't know, finance, communication, very
Production, engineering,
engineering, line manager, whatever. So it was, they were from really different level also inside the organization, different countries, different entities. So it was really a mix. And at the beginning for them, it was also the first time was to connect between each of them, because the first connection was only by Teams, because everyone was in so much, I would say, so many different countries. So it was difficult for them to have physical time together. So it's this also need time, and so we needed to accept that nothing will appear and happen in 1 month.
Yeah.
So I had also to create this kind of explanation and to prepare the exco to say we will work on that. Maybe I will be only able to present to you something in 1 year, and it's okay, but we will do something.
Yeah, which is good to say, because I think both you and I are maybe not, our key skill may not be patience, right? So the fact that you said,
not really, but
the fact that it
no,
took
but
a year.
sometimes the project needs time. And we just need to accept this. Well, not always. Sometimes I push them, but it was really important, because if you want to do something very quickly, they won't have this such kind of connection between all of them, and I'm sure that we won't have what we produce at the end.
Yeah. Because I think you're right in that, and I think when I was reflecting about what made all the elements that made this a success, right, and then define success, but I would say a success, one of the things is play the long game, right?
Yes.
It's not a quick fix. And playing the long game in organizations today is sometimes hard, because we're used to having quarterly business results and we want to fix now, right? So it's like, again, credit to your credibility within the organization to say, I'm going to do this right. It's going to take time. And again, it's systemic, right? We use different levers, and this was one of the levers. So when we talk about what made leadership different, and in the next phase, we'll go into the content. Now we're still talking about the approach. Setting up the governance team was just step one of it being different. What are some of the other elements?
Probably also not to, because as you understood, I have been working in a huge group.
Yeah.
So what I decided to do is to say nothing. I would say no. For sure, inside my business, they were aware, but I just decided not to share it with, I would say, all the organization, because at the beginning I didn't have anything to say, and I wanted also to be free to set up different kind of things. It was a test. We'll see what will be the output, how we'll organize things, and we will have time in the future, if it's relevant, to share it internally. So this is exactly what I did. And like that, we didn't have any other pressure, because sometimes if you start by asking and raising your hand, may I have to, or I would like to work on that, or is it possible, or whatever, you won't do anything in such kind of company, because everyone wants to see what you are doing. Everyone wants to say, okay, I would like to do it, but not like that, or because this is part of my job and this is not your scope. And for sure, I'm not in charge of learning and development. I'm not the HR D for all the group, and it's not the point. I'm just in charge of one of my business, and I just wanted to challenge this topic from, I would say, business opportunity. That's it. And at the beginning it was, and it's important, because like that you can have the freedom to
operate, navigate.
Right.
Because that's the thing.
As you say, sometimes under the radar.
Under the radar. We talked about that earlier, to say some of the biggest success of change programs is hitting it at the right level, right? And go under the radar. Don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness afterwards, right? That's something we...
Yes, I prefer this.
So the other things, well, I think still, if I go back also to the format, right? So, and it's nice that we can weave. So we talked about the establishing the governance team. You've talked about where you pitch it and not making it too visible so that you could keep moving forward. This was a global team also. And they had a charge, right? And I remember was one of the people that you involved was also Debbie, right? To lead some of this project work. At some point, they came with a recommendation. That's what you asked them, right? There was 3 things that came out as a summary of their work.
Yeah.
Well,
they didn't come with 3. They didn't come with 3. They came with 27, more exactly. So I asked them to
reduce it
at the end to think differently, but this is part of my job, and it wasn't my first request, so it was totally okay for me. Okay, come with everything in your mind. if you do believe it's relevant, and we'll step by step see what we can do, and we create connection. And at the end, we decided to work mainly on 3 main topics. But it's important because it wasn't not one and after that another one. We really launched the 3 at the same time. And it's very simple at the end, but it's a way of we decided to do it. The first one is with this idea. First, we are in a something it's really I would say connected, and it's systemic. So the first one is how can we equip women differently? And it's part of the things we worked and we decided to do together, and we designed together about this experiential learning. The second thing was how can we be more visible inside the organization? To be visible, we launch or let's say improve mentoring, because in some of our country it was existing, but not for everyone, or only for a few, and in some countries not. So we really work on that. Cross BU, really to create different kind of connection. And also we launch sponsoring program with the CEO or the main director inside our organization, men or women, with a sponsor. So it's not the same than mentoring, it's very different. And the third level was how can we connect all of them, connect by and giving them inspiration. So what we have been working on is every 4-6 weeks a live chat with an internal woman or some external sometimes, but really to share with an authentic way their journey, their background, their failure, their question, whatever. They are all already today, I would say, in some already they are all in some very interesting position inside our organization, not only in our business but inside the group. And they really share with all the women inside the organization their past. So it's really a safe time. And what we wanted to do is really to inspire, to help them also to see if this woman did that, went through that, you can also do it, because we need more example inside our organization. We are in a men's world and in a men's organization, so we need to see that some women are doing different kind of things, and it's possible for everyone. And we reinforce this by a platform where they can find a lot of information and some newsletter, really to exchange about tips, about insight, about nudge on different topics. So it's a mix of all of this. So experiential learning is like this training we could design together, really to equip the woman, and working. We could talk more, we could say a little more about this, but it's really special because this is the first training only dedicated for women. Mentoring, sponsoring, it could be for everyone, but for sure here in our case, we also did it only for women. And after that, the live chat are only dedicated for all the women inside our organization. So we can touch differently. Live chat, this is for everyone, CAD, non-CAD, whatever you are. And I invite not only my business, but broader than this. Mentoring, sponsoring, this is for women at different level. It's closer. Experiential learning, they are chosen by the HR, the GM, myself. So they are really a specific selection. So step by step, we create connection, we create selection also. But just also to say to all of them, if you are here, it's because you count for our organization. It's because you are special. It's because it's important for you, and your manager, your HR think it's the right time to do it. So it's creating something really, I think, which change the perception. And I really heard from some who wanted to leave, or the group, not because thought that, okay, I'm doing well. Everybody seems happy with my job, and but I don't know what is my future. I don't have specific connection with HR or the manager. I don't know what I could do, and maybe if I have an interesting opportunity outside, I will leave. And being part of this program, they really came back to me by saying, you know, I wanted to leave. Finally, I decided to stay because I saw the investment for me, not only for me, but for them, but also for me. and I wanted to not to stay because of this, but part of this, yes.
Yeah, it's been a catalyst for them. It's been a catalyst for them. So I'm going to pause again and come back, and because there's so much there. So when we go, we talked about the governance team, we talked about the outcomes. So the governance team, just for those that are interested also to replicate, met for about a year, right? And then they continued on. Their role changed from being a creator to more being a support to hold the space, because one of the things that people were interested in, how do you sustain it? So this notion of the governance team has also been part of it being a bigger scale thing, and not isolated thing. It's not only an experiential program, which we're going to dive into in more detail later, because that by itself is quite different.
And just I just interrupt you on that, because it's key. The governance team was chosen for to start and to work on this program. What I wanted from them is to stay when we launched the program. So they stayed 18 months globally, something like that. And after that, I say, now it's time also to change, because it's a lot of additional work. In between, they all also were more visible inside the organization. They went through also the different action they decided to build, and they all took also another position inside the organization. So it was great. So it was time also for them to let
hand it over
to another governance group, because I'm convinced that we needed to have also some operational women to take over the topic, and to bring a new eyes, new idea, and to make it also sustainable.
Because if I use that to say, okay, no, it's great, because that's how we dance together. The governance team, the first group was created with a double mission. Help us to create an answer to the challenge we face today, and what, if anything, were possible would you want, right? And think out of the box. They came out with all these topics, then distilled it into key themes like you talked about, to be seen, to be heard, and to be connected. And sub teams were increased confidence. That's what men and women, but specifically women, sometimes we keep ourselves small. We talked about how to navigate the reality in business and deal with inappropriate comments. Sometimes we talked about negotiation. But the key thing, and I think so many people would buy this and are going to adopt this notion of to be seen, to be heard, and to be connected is the red thread, right? And then what you said, because this, again, if you ask me what's different and what makes one of the differences, I've dreamt about this kind of programs. Very few organizations go as far. You have to put all the pieces together. So you've got the governance team at the foundation, you've got the vision where you go to, you've got your part of visibility that happens through being part of the governance team, but that happens through sponsorship, that happens through being part of the program. You've got the experiential program, which is truly about redefining your unique leadership style. We're going to dive into it. But then you've also got the sponsoring you talked about. All those pieces together make that it works. You've got the newsletter, and it requires a lot of effort. So the governance team, the next governance team then came in to help you manage the newsletters, manage the live chat. So for all those that want a quick fix, this is not it, right? It requires, I think, if you think about resources, it's still been a struggle to get full-time resources to support you on this. So again, you've been thinking outside of the box and saying, how can I leverage talent within the organization to support the whole leadership program? Right?
Absolutely, and I didn't want to have an external consulting company doing this for me. So it's because if I would have done that, I would have been credible internally, because they would say, "Oh, it's classical things, the same." We co-designed together something, and we met a lot of different other companies before you, but we wanted to do something very authentic, and also this made the difference. I would say clearly we made the difference by that, and we involve us concretely by the governance team, because it was also shared, built by them, shared internally. We co-design together. I'm still involved regularly in all, I would say, the different expansion learning. As you know, and I'm doing all the introduction. So it's being there, making it sustainable step by step. And by our end, so it's not a lot of money. It's not a question of this. It's time, but it's not money. For sure, we have to pay you for being the coach of the and facilitating the session. But it's not the point. It's if I would have done another kind of training, I would have paid for that. So, and the cost is not very. No, I can't say that because you are there. But it's fine.
In the totality,
but it's okay. It's okay. No, but it's clearly okay.
Yeah.
And even when we ask you some notes and few things, it's not a huge budget. It's a question of using the right resources internally, helping them also to learn from that because they are exposed also differently. And as we are doing this with internal women, this is more and more credible. And after that, we'll see that the impact will be and would have been and are.
Impact. We're going to talk about that. But
sure.
So let me find the way to bring this piece together, right? I'm working double time. So I'm thinking, is there anything else that we want to say in the setup? So you've talked about what's different, because we said, okay, we changed the game, and it's not that nobody has done it before, but I think it's the first company I've worked with that's been so consistent in it. So yes, you find an external partner, but you do a lot in-house. You've mobilized all the different levers, if you wish, from the governance team to continued support to the executive leadership. You co-design. So I want to talk about that a little bit to say really what's unique for us, and both from your side, was that once the governance team came together, and you touched on it, you selected different companies to start a dialogue with you. What made you choose for us?
You didn't bring something already existing on the table. You bring with who you are.
I mean, like,
no, but it's important because we met bigger company working on D&I, and they came with a lot of things they wanted to do, very interesting, by the way, but a lot of big survey, and it was too much, too expensive, I would say too much existing already in some other kind of company. I didn't want to make a monster. I wanted to do something where step by step we can work together, adapt, adjust, because we at the beginning we say, okay, we'll organize 2 pilots, we'll see how it will be, and we'll see what does it mean at the end. So it was, okay, we have to co-design this. We wanted to do different kind of things. It would have been also, and it was the first training only dedicated to women. So it was a mix of all of this, and we wanted to do something just a little apart. Not thinking about strategy and so on, it was thinking differently. So I wanted really to work with a structure or people who really accepted also really to understand where we were. We had a lot of ideas. We did not know exactly what we wanted to do. So it was really accepting to put all our wish, energy on the table to design something together. And accepting that we'll test a pilot, we'll test a second pilot, and after that, I don't know. Agree to continue. But if we, at the end, and it was the case, we decided to continue, we wanted also to have the same people. Thank you, Maija. Thank you, Daniele, to be there and to support this program, because you are part of this program. And without you, I'm not sure that this experience would have been the same. So for me, it was like a very well, very, I would say a beautiful connection. And step by step, also you understand the business, you understand also what we are going through inside our organization. You know the people, so you also can adapt and then adjust your words to all of them and to support them individually, collectively. So this also make the difference.
Yeah, it's cool that you say that, because I mean, part of that was what I was writing down myself too. I think Yeah, so the co-creation, because from my side, so I've been on the other side where you are, right? When you select partners, now I'm on this side, and it's nice to hear. I don't think you've ever told us really this question about what made you choose for us, except that I know our colleague Alan, who was the commercial contact from Pluribus, said, hey, we've got a client, a potential client, and they want a bit of the wild side. And I remember him reaching out to Daniela Duva and myself, Daniela, who's my co-facilitator. We for those that don't know, Daniela and I do the tandem, the lead faculty, and that he said to her, you can even bring your drum, and she went like, whoa. But so the notion, I know the recipe that works is this mix of having out of the box thinking, and we've got guest faculty in there, which we don't share about because it's still a secret. That's another thing of the magic, how even after 20 sessions, people keep the secret of the program. So Danielle and I run it, and then we've got guest faculty. But what was wonderful for me, I remember sitting with the governance team in Mechelen at Saint-Gobain as a preparation to co-design the program, and discovering we could be ourselves, right? And that we decided we're just going to show up, and you went like, yes, this is what we want. And then discovering we have the same language. You were using archetypes, Jung-based archetypes in our organization. And Daniela and I hardly dared to say, hey, the lover, the warrior. And I remember your colleague, or the project lead at the time, Debbie, said, oh yeah, but we use that within the organization. We went like, tack, and so many things that lined up together, right? So that was really cool. Yeah.
And probably it was also a mix of understanding the business.
Yeah.
This is also what I do appreciate a lot with you, because you worked inside also different big organizations. So you understand sometimes what we go through, what does it mean when we launch such kind of project, and also create the right connection with the people.
Yeah.
And also being also able to make a step apart. And so it's a mix of both of you. You are so different and so complementary that at the end, the connection with the team is really great. And yeah, and probably this makes this totally unique.
Yeah.
And this is mainly the all the feedback we got from all these women who did and went through this program is this is like a training which changed their life. So it's this is probably the things I'm the most proud of. Yeah.
It's crazy. I can feel it. I know we can
Sorry
talk
for
about
that.
just as you say that, it's like, oh my God.
We can share a lot of interesting figures, but this make the difference. I don't know the perception you may have also on that, because you also facilitate a lot of other kind of training or coaching for other company, but
yeah, no, I think a couple of other things I wanted to add. I mean, I can still feel it in my body. So for anybody who's listening and finds that weird, sorry, part of the magic of this program is we show up as we are. So yes, and it's I don't want to sound, I want to stay honest and humble. It is crazy to have every single time that we meet women at the Circle of Women at the close, that they go, I don't know what you did to me, but this has changed me for my life, and but in a way that, because I can hear some critical voices going, it's therapy. No, it's not therapy. It's helping women to remember their unique power and their unique talents, and it's like a breath of fresh air, like you and me now. We can finally be ourselves. How often have we just pretended? I remember, I better do my corporate look, I better do this. No, I've got my dragon on me, and I got my fire in me, and I'm still a businesswoman. And we do this because it has impact. We don't only do this to be nice to the women. We do it because we think they can be better, and if they're better, it will help the organization, and it doesn't make it easier, right? Because the reality of the business is Saint-Gobain and others, that tough decisions are made, economics are hard, sometimes you've got restructuring. We help the women also be ready for that. And
I heard by some of them saying that, if I didn't did this at the beginning of the year, I wouldn't have been able to support what I had to support this year. So I say, okay,
Yeah.
this is good. And we are not doing strange things. I want to reassure everyone. It's very, because I'm more, I would say, practical than, and I didn't want to do things totally crazy or totally not acceptable in such kind of organization.
Yeah.
We're in an industrial world with a lot of engineers, so it's very pragmatic. So it's a mix of thinking about ourselves, understanding how can I work on with my different energy, the sense of being who I am, really understanding this, thinking about yourself during 3 days, and understanding, okay, if I want to go there, this is not the point. How do you want to go there? And we help them to work on that. And yes, at the end, you feel also that you are not alone. And this is the other really important things. And it's not only 3 days. These 3 days are absolutely the I would say,
the heart.
Yes, of everything. But following this, you have the support by your mentor or sponsor. You have a different connection. And we did a live chat last week, very interesting, about syndrome. And it was really powerful time. And a lot of them say, oh my God, I have so many. So I say, it's okay. We can work on that. We all have. But it's interesting just to continue regular time connection, to engage everyone, because yes, like that we can create a change. To, I would say, alone it's very difficult. And if you have some support, you can share about difficulties, about, okay, you have to move internally, you want to talk with someone just to see how to negotiate. You can have a lot of support, even by you, because I know that sometimes you stay in touch with some of them, or because we also have other guests during these 3 days, but it's fantastic for that. And I'm really happy to serve the business, finally, to help them, but to serve the business.
Yeah, because I think that's it. We take an atypical approach. All of this is a bit atypical, but just outside the line, but not too much that we lose them, right? It's still. I spoke to an executive leader the other day in Saint-Gobain who said, we're still in the business and I could channel you. I remember in the beginning, one of the things that I really appreciate is in our co-creation, there's openness, there's trust, right? In the beginning, I mean, definitely you challenged me. You were sending me the difficult guests and maybe the more critical minds to Danielle and I to go through the program as part of building the coalition and the support. And you would push us a bit. But once we were set, I mean, I just feel the full support, which means we can have difficult discussions if we need to, but which means we get the empowerment from you to show up, and therefore we can do our best work. So if you support us, we can support the women. I think another thing I want to credit you with, and you hear me say this so often, is one of the key success factors, because companies that want to replicate this, it's not a quick fix. It requires a hell of a lot. We've been doing this for years. But also you are there for every single kickoff, or for 90% of the kickoffs. And as a visible sponsor, so even when you're not there, we have a video message. So every group is a new group, both for you and for us. We don't take anything for granted. We prepare as rigorously for every group. We do a lot of intakes. We customize the experience in the program. And we've got all these threads before and after. We've got virtual follow-up. So both for you and for us, for Danielle and I, it doesn't stop when we're together, right? There's a whole thing behind it, and which creates success. So maybe we look at a couple of testimonials. Larissa, you listed a few testimonials. So I don't know if you want to pick anyone out, Yaël, that you want to highlight. I mean, there's so many more. People actually call you straight after, right? Or send you emails.
Oh, I think
is the one that stands out.
I have something. I think their words are better than whatever I could say additionally.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm trying to see. Yeah, we see the highlights here being seen and being heard. We've got some hearts popping up. Yay. And you'll get them in the follow-up. But so these are the words from the participant. I think we've got over close to 100 testimonials from 300 women. So people that have taken the time to write, and that doesn't even include all the ones that you got directly. But if you think back, and maybe we use that as a bridge to go to the next section. So we still got a few things to go through. And I see the questions pop in, making sure not to get distracted. What was I going to say? Yeah, what is for you still your biggest takeaway? And thank you, Larissa. You can go back to normal view. What was your biggest takeaway? I mean, it's now been what, 2023 that you went through it? Yeah.
My biggest takeaway is probably we can, in our position, we can be, we may have to follow some constraints by regulation or whatever we are. But we can use this to make really the difference and to use it as a game changer and not to taking as constraints. So this is the first thing. The second one is you can do really and make the difference without any I would say money or big things, but by having the right support. And the support is also coming from, we all have good people. I don't have such, I would say, special team due to my position. It's more facilitating, animation, and so on. And I work with a lot of incredible women in operation, spending time with me to build this for them also, but they trust me, so we can really create this trust all together, doing something without a lot of resources at the beginning. And step by step, we build something which internally is more and more visible, because people talk about this. And now the manager asked me, oh, I would like absolutely her to be part of this program, being in different kind of things. Can you invite her to do this? It's really important. So I didn't have to finally
you don't have to
show up what we were doing. It was done by the woman who did it, by their manager who also saw it differently. So creating this environment where people are more visible, where they dare to say, oh, now I'm ready for that. It's my turn. I don't want to wait more. I think it's great. And it's, for me, this is really fantastic to see that. And now it's, I would say, a lot of people are expecting more, and it's not only for mobility now, it's for a lot of other businesses inside the group. They really ask me to be part of this. So for me, I would say my best takeaway is, first, we can do a lot without any resources. We just need some allies to trust also people who are not doing this, or this is not their job, but they can do a lot and bring, and they have a lot to say, and they have a lot to bring, and we need to trust them, and we are here to facilitate. We need to be consistent, and the consistency is regularity by, we have different training, we have different action. I don't let go. I'm there all the time. So it's part of this, I think so. And yes, we can make the change. And finally, when I got each time a lot of feedback following the different training, and also when I go into different countries where I can see that some countries took this program and said it's absolutely fantastic. For sure, we can't I would say involve all our women first because we have some CAD, but they are far away and so on. They decided to do something very local also for non-CAD. Absolutely relevant depending on their culture in India or in Brazil, in Mexico and so on. It's crazy. So for me, it's, if we can bring something to everyone individually and show to them that they count for organization, they are visible inside the organization, they will be totally engaged and they will make the difference. So this is my best takeaway for that.
Wow, great. And you spoke, and I wanted to hear about your personal takeaway as a participant. But maybe we come to that later, or tell me quickly, because then I'm going to summarize. We're actually getting closer to the end, to the Q&A. So what's your personal takeaway from the experience? Because I've seen a change. You know, I've seen a change. But go ahead.
Probably to be more grounded, to trust more. I could have this idea that maybe I could have done a lot of things alone.
Yeah.
Because I could have done it faster and it would have been easier.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, I said it took time and so on. I needed to trust them and to let them taking the time to do something different. But at the end, it's more powerful. So my biggest takeaway is let the time when it's needed because it's useful. Trust the people. And stay close to them and be consistent, I would say. And like that, I feel more powerful and grounded. It wasn't so easy. It wasn't a perfect smooth flow always, because sometimes the group decided to put their eyes on it, and it was a very challenging moment. And it wasn't also obvious because we had for sure some feedback coming from some GMs saying, is it really useful? What does it mean at the beginning? Now we can say we have concrete result, but it wasn't necessarily the case immediately. So I needed to stay really focused on what I believe, to have the courage also to say, trust me.
Yeah, okay. That's good. And you're weaving two stories together, or three stories. There's and I'll fill it in a bit for you to take us towards the Q&A also. So I hear you say many takeaways. One is about what is the success of the program? And the proof is in the pudding, we say in English, right? At the end of the day, the most powerful is the word of mouth. We have created impact to the women who have participated, and through that we've created impact to others, right? That's one thing. The second thing I hear you say was one of the key successes also, you went through the program as a participant and your leadership style changed as a consequence, right? And then thirdly, you said now one of the things that's required, because I realized we had questions around that, why did it work without backlash, and what's the story about men? So if I go first to why did it work without backlash, is because you stuck with it. I know at several points we were on the fire, right? You were on the fire where one person said, oh no, it's too different, or it's anyway.
It wasn't easy because it was criticized, or it's only women, and why some men reacted like that. Why can't we be part of this? And why are you not working for us? And I want something also like that for me. And I don't understand what we are doing this only for women. So they had the feeling that they were apart and exclude. So I say yes, but for years it was the opposite. So now we need also a safe space to do things differently and step by step. But it was really to be really strong on that, and not to let the door open by saying, okay, because they are high position and they want to be part of this, I need to change my and what we have decided to do in the beginning. And I said, no, this is clearly a safe space for women to grow, to learn, to develop themselves. So and we will do some other things for you, but not this.
And alongside, because I know, I mean, for me personally, the whole journey I've made is from being quite activist to now more like, oh, hang on a minute, we were never meant to compete. The table is long enough for all of us, right?
Yeah, never. I don't want to compete on that. And it was never done against. It's we need to work on ourselves. For me, if I wait that the world change or the other will change, we'll never do something. So we need to work on ourselves and to make the first step. So let us do the first step, even 2 steps, 3 steps, and step by step we'll change together. And we will embark them differently, but they are sometimes they can receive some newsletter because it's okay, it's a news, so they are totally part of this. They can be part of this by participating to some specific event. They also can support the program by mentoring, sponsoring, or by different
and showing up as one of the sponsors.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at time. We need to go to the Q&A.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But one of the things that because one of the questions that you talked about in the beginning, so yes, there's been pushback at different levels, right? Not only men, sometimes we've learned that we have to have target the right level of women, right? But one of the things you said to us was we didn't really get backlash from many men. We got, I want that too. Can you say something about that? And then I'm going to hand it to Isa for the Q&A.
Yes, they wanted to be part of this because, when you are doing something and everything was done in the past for them first. Yeah. So at that moment, they were just a little jealous, but it was okay. Well, I think it was more, I want to be part because I want to see and I heard good things. But the most difficult things for me was also coming from other women inside the organization at some level because they didn't understand and they say, oh, big only between women, this is not what I believe in and so on. But I say, okay. But this is not the point. I think we can do different kind of things. We can do both. But here it's something different. And if we want to create such connection, working on ourselves, we need sometimes also to discover things differently. And it was also the first time for me. So it was also strange because I would say too much girly on that, but it was really powerful. So I think this also made the difference. And we need to accept to push differently and to be grounded on that.
Yeah, and we know our next ambition. And Isa, I'm calling you in for the Q&A. I know we're walking the path of bringing everything together, right? So it's not a women's program because we're a woman. And it's not women against men. It happens to be a program where only women are invited because it creates a safety that we wouldn't have otherwise, right? And because we benefit from the sorority, and because in an organization like Saint-Gobain, we're still the minority. So if we don't do what others do and what men do anyway, help and support each other, we need that infrastructure, and the impact of the sorority has been so powerful. I see Isa's there. Okay, Isa.
Well, first of all, thank you. I mean, to both of you. I could, listen to both of you for another, hours. And it's first of all, thank you so much, because it reminds me that I had the chance to be a participant to the program. So I really, enjoyed every second, and I could everything you said could really resonate in the impact that it did create. So thank you for that. Regarding the questions and comments, it's not surprising, but most of the questions are around, indeed, how to deal with resistance towards an only woman program, basically from men. But sometimes also women can say, well, I don't want to participate to a woman-only program. How do you deal with that?
As I said, I did it. And at the beginning, I say first, I wasn't totally, for me, it was really strange because it was the first time I'm not used to do that. And I like to work with men, and because we are in such kind of company, it's because we like to work with men. So what I say to all of them each time, it's absolutely not a woman, I would say women's stuff or girly stuff. And it's not the point, and it's not this. And I don't want to change you to be more girly. It's not that. It's really to be yourself and trust me and follow the flow, and you will discover things about you. And you will see also as other women can be a different support. But by the way, step by step, and I had to do it at the beginning and to say it at the beginning. Afterwards, the other woman talk to the others and say, trust me, it's fantastic, do it. And so it's finally, it was a discussion at the beginning, not so much afterwards. And inside the group, we also had such a discussion at other level in the organization. And I said, okay, but we have a lot of other talent training. So we have opportunity to develop ourselves in a classical way. Here it's different. And it's probably also an added value also to this program, because we decided to to pay for that finally, and to give this such time for women to be only together, thinking about themselves, and not, it seems strange, but not working. We work on ourselves, but not working and thinking only about business. But this is really useful for the business. So it seems strange, but this is really for me an investment. And so it was at the beginning, but step by step. And when the men saw the impact, and the other women also saw the impact of the program and the impact, because the women afterward, they move, they change, they bring something different inside the organization. It wasn't no more a topic.
Yeah, and I can build on that in the sense of, I like these, give me the difficult questions and have the real conversation, right? I remember when I was in my D&I roles and I get that question, I go, why not? Give me an argument, why not? What are you afraid of? What's underneath that question? Where's the resistance coming from? And so just to be curious, to say, but I want that too. So what do you think you're missing, right? And then you bring them in so that you get the support. And I learned as a facilitator to be comfortable with discomfort, right? So as we prepare with the women, they would say, I've never had a women's only thing, and I don't know if I want it. And I remember some of them saying after day one, now I get it. I understand. When I do this exercise, I wouldn't have wanted to do it with men, right? And the notion of, oh my God.
And I wanted just to add, even during the live chat, being only between women, we have some questions that probably we will never have if one man will be there. So this is also really important. And the second point is, for years, many years, men are doing this. We have men's club, pub with only, or club with only for men, and it was absolutely obvious. So we could also start something just a little different. And finally, as Maija, you said,
why not?
It was more a question than really a problem.
Yeah.
Thank you. There was also a question a little bit related to that, regarding maybe some expectation from men to also have, even though you say historically, and we know that all the programs were for men, but today, where there is also this eagerness for men to reconnect with their own authenticity, power, with all the pressure from the society in general. Are you thinking about something for men?
I am, and I don't know so far exactly what I want to do on that. I think we have to work on that. I'm not sure that men are totally ready, at least inside our company, to follow such kind of program. So I need just to find a good way to do it. So before that, I will probably work on a level 2 for women. Well, this is another point. But in between, I was thinking on that. I just need to find the best path and yes, entry point. And it's, if I do it, I need to be immediately successful. So it will be something different, because they will judge just a little more than the woman. And we have more time with the woman to build, to set up this program finally, because they expected probably nothing special at the beginning. So and step by step they saw the impact. For men, they will be more in the judgment. This is my perception. It's maybe true, false, and I don't know. I could be totally disagree on that, but I need just to see the best way to do it and the right moment to do it.
But and you know your organization best. I want to honor also Danielle Duve here. I know she holds the vision. She keeps telling me, yeah, but in the future we need to bring them together. And she's a bit avant-garde in that. And I do honestly believe, I see that there's gateways, right? I mean, I know where Saint-Gobain's at, and the success of leadership has been that you do the right move at the right time. So the same here too. But I'm hearing with other customers that space is happening. And I know when I was at Cargill, we brought men and women together around the topic of archetypes, right? So sometimes you know how we go under the radar? Sometimes we do stuff without explaining it. So I think there's an entryway to just have experiences with men and women for them then to come to us. So we're now developing, and I know I have that conversation with Isa and Alan to say, hey, we're going to find the way to just have a conversation so that men also feel included and that they go like, oh, I also really need a reset because I've had it with this pressure and with this context. So we're getting there, I think.
Thank you. There was a specific question about the context in the US. The fact that it's not possible now to have this kind of program in the US. So for your talent, your female talent in the US, how do you deal with that?
Alors, first, at the beginning, they were a part of this program because we started before the new regulation on that. And we had to stop. So it's it's pity, but it's not possible now to do that. At the beginning, we really the start, when we work on that, we decided to do a American pilot and the European one, because we know that the culture is really different. Finally, after when we did the two pilots, we saw that one could be really open to everyone, and it was the case, and we had a lot of American women part of this program, and they were also involved in a lot of other things. Now we have to stop, unfortunately, and I hope in the future we could bring them again inside this program for sure. So it's we have no choice, even if you are a French company, even if you are international, but it's too dangerous, I would say, due to this.
Which makes me think two things. This maybe people don't know, this is a global program, right? We've got Thailand, China, Japan, Mexico, Brazil. So I think, I think the audience doesn't know the scale of which the geography that this has done. And yes, we had a lot of women of the US, and I know when we talked. So again, we stay close to the women and we sent the messages, and then I know I customized the message to the US. But all of a sudden, I think maybe our entryway to engage the men might be in the US, because maybe now that we can't separate, it could be a catalyst for us to think about this experience differently. For a follow-on
comment. No, I was reading at the same time the pop-up with some comment about the US, and I will read it again. And I'm really interested to see how can I do that. As I'm part of the group, I need just to align some position on that, which is not at that point easy. But if I have a room for doing this and involving all the women we have in the US, it could be great, because it was really fantastic. And what I like also to do inside the group is really having the best mix of different profile, different coming from different countries, because this also make the success. Huh? It's not the same kind of profile, so we always fine tune the group of the participant. And for me, it's really pity because we had such interesting discussion with having two American women each time. It was great. So if I have a room for that, I will follow it.
I think
so much for your comment on that.
Looking at the comments in below, that it seems that there would be even people willing to co-create or think with us how you could approach it. But I do think all of a sudden I'm just hearing you, Yaël, and the conversation we have, and this program has happened, the success has happened because we've been thinking outside of the box. And this is another way that we can think outside of the box and use it as a catalyst to take it to the next level.
And because you were talking about success, we didn't have time probably to show some figures, but
the result.
We earned more than 8 points about gender diversity figures in 5 years. We had probably 95% of retention rate, 40% of people, women who evolve inside the organization.
It's a good one. Here we've got it. Larissa has been thinking alongside with us, so it's good for the audience. Yeah, so we don't have your We don't have the first figure of your representation.
Because this is something I follow also, and
yeah.
every month I still follow the gender diversity figures every month, but now
Yeah.
concrete and relevant.
But it's beautiful because this is also inspiring for other organizations in the industry, right? But the key things I know that we talked about, because I remember asking you, I said, okay, we measure it, because I could spot on LinkedIn the women that I'm connected with, how they got promotions, right? So 34% a positive role change. We've been a bit more careful there, but I know it's higher than that probably, where many of them have, as you said, and not only the women in here, the women in the governance team had more exposure, progression and so on. The overall satisfaction rate, I don't think we've ever seen a 4.8, but okay, it's a number, but it's still a number. 97% that recommend the experience, but especially also from a business perspective, a retention rate of 95% versus, I think in industry, it's 80 something. I can't see it here because my screen's over it. Versus 80% is huge. If you translate that into money and knowing how difficult it is to attract women into the industry, this is huge, right? So case we've had the results and you had the positive brand before the numbers followed the impact we had, right? Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Larissa.
Thank you. I'm just conscious about time, and maybe it's a nice time now to wrap up, maybe with some key takeaways. So I'm really hand over to you, Maija and Yaël.
Yeah, okay, so I tried to make notes for the recording. I think several of you know that in the beginning I started listing what made the difference, right? But I also made a few notes in preparation. And for those of you who are in the webinar right now, you will get this as a handout. But some of the things that I wanted to share with you, because my brain likes this stuff also. What makes that it worked? Yaël, we talked about it's a systemic approach, meaning I've mentioned that to you, take the long game, right? You spent a year invested in the governance team, for example, embedding it in the workflow and a broader program. So that's another characteristic of it being systemic, is to say it's not separate, but you anchor it in workflow processes, or you anchor it in the bigger program that we talked about, sponsorship, the live chats and so on. Owned or supported by many. You're not the sole carrier of this. You're the initiator, you're the sponsor, but you've got the CEO behind you, the exco behind you, multiple colleagues behind you, right? So you've built this coalition, and the women co-own the initiative through the governance team and ongoing support. Measured by outcomes. So we're not measuring, soon we're going to have the 21st cohort of the leaderships, like, wow, over 4 years. But that's not what we measured, right? We track it. The results speak for themselves, the ones we just shown. So that's also something that talks about it being systemic. In the posts I shared, I also said a linear approach to a circular experience, meaning business, we talk structure, but when you come to it, it's something that speaks to not only the head, but also the heart and the gut brain, right? So that it's the success of the program, and I'm talking especially the face-to-face, is also a result of it being an embodied approach. I don't know if we talked about that earlier. And so circular experience also in the sense of we've gone from an initiative to something that is part of your DNA now. And the fact that we leaned into the dialogue when there was resistance. And so then two other things, dare to be different. The world needs a different kind of leadership. And our newsletter, the newsletter that follows this is going to talk about that too, is to say, man or woman, we need a more human approach to transformation and business. And so there's a direct impact of equipping all these women leaders with the skills, because you've invited them also to rise and lead the change. And the last one, I think, two more. Be authentic, right? I think they got you and me as we are, but invite everybody to be authentic and stick with it, which is credit to you. If the going gets rough, just stick with it and trust. So that's what I got as key takeaways from our dialogue.
Thank you, Maija. It was really great. And for me, this is this connection between us, this consistency between us also make the difference. Thank you for both of you, Isabelle, Maija, but also Daniele, because you are part of this and the guests we invite during this time. Taking the time, be confident, having allies internally. And sometimes we need to have the courage to push new idea, and it works. And we can make the change. So I'm really happy for that, and for your support and your presence, and yes, visibility, connection, confidence, I would say.
Thank you.
It's
Really,
great.
thank you to both of you. I mean, I already had lots of admiration,
Well,
even more now. Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone who participated as well. That would be.
Thank you so much for
Thank you
having me.
so
It was
much.
really great and a
Yeah,
nice day.
thank you so much,
Thank you so
Maija,
much.
and Larissa for moderating, and everyone. Bye, everyone.